A small town with too many secrets. One crime exposed them all. The town of Skidmore, Missouri was a quiet community tucked amid endless cornfields. With fewer than 500 residents, it seemed like the kind of place where everyone knew everyone else. But beneath its tranquil surface lurked a fear that gripped the townspeople for decades. That fear was Ken Rex McElroy, a man whose reign of terror would ultimately push an entire town to take justice into its own hands. Born in 1934 to a family of poor tenant farmers, McElroy's early life was marked by hardship. He left school in the 8th grade, illiterate, and suffered a serious head injury at 18 when a steel slab fell on him at a construction site. Experts suggest such injuries can affect impulse control and empathy, possibly shaping the violent and erratic behavior he would later exhibit. By adulthood, McElroy was physically imposing, reportedly weighing 270 pounds, and he cultivated a reputation for intimidation, relishing the fear he inspired. While he earned a living through dog racing, trading, and leasing land, McElroy's life was punctuated by theft, fraud, and violence. Livestock, grain, alcohol, even gasoline were among the alleged spoils of his schemes. He faced numerous criminal charges, but often walked free, shielded by the powerful Kansas City lawyer, Richard Gene McFadden. McElroy's influence was not limited to legality. He wielded intimidation personally, threatening anyone who opposed him. Witnesses feared retaliation, leaving him largely untouchable. His domestic life reflected the same pattern of control. McElroy was accused of sexually abusing minors, manipulating women, and using violence to maintain dominance. His third wife, Trina McLeod, married him when she was just 14. Over the years, McElroy reportedly threatened her family, burned property, and even shot their dog. Despite this, Trina often minimized his abuse publicly, highlighting the complex dynamics between abuser and victim in a climate of fear and manipulation. By the late 1970s, McElroy had become untouchable. Even local law enforcement hesitated to confront him, aware of his heavy armament and history of violence, which included shooting 2 people, including a local farmer, Romaine Henry. The residents of Skidmore felt abandoned by the very system meant to protect them. The breaking point came on April 25, 1980, when a small incident in Ernest Bo Bowenkamp's general store escalated dramatically. McElroy's 8-year-old daughter was asked to return a piece of candy she had taken without paying. McElroy responded with fury, stalking the Bowenkamp family for weeks. On July 8, he confronted Bo Bowenkamp in an alley behind the store, shooting him in the neck at close range. Miraculously, Bowenkamp survived. But McElroy had made his power and threat unmistakably clear. The legal system attempted to intervene. McElroy was arrested and scheduled for trial, but he delayed proceedings using legal maneuvers and the influence of his attorney. Eventually, a young prosecutor, David Baird, secured a conviction for second-degree assault. Yet the sentence was minimal, and McElroy was released on $40,000 bail pending appeal. Undeterred, he continued to intimidate residents, flaunting his firearms and openly threatening those who opposed him. Skidmore's townspeople were left with little choice. They could wait for the system to act, or they could act themselves. On the morning of July 10, 1981, the tension in Skidmore reached its peak. Residents gathered in a town hall meeting at the local Legion Hall, including the mayor and sheriff, to discuss precautions against McElroy. Consensus was grim. His reign of terror had left them few options. Later that day, as McElroy drove toward the local D&G Tavern with Trina in the passenger seat, the town's simmering anger boiled over. Shots rang out as McElroy approached his truck. Multiple bullets struck him, and he collapsed in the street, dead, before anyone could intervene. Estimates suggest around 60 townspeople witnessed the shooting, yet none came forward to identify the shooter. Trina was pulled to safety, and Skidmore collectively maintained a wall of silence. The act of vigilante justice, shocking as it was, brought an end to decades of terror. The investigation that followed was extensive. Local authorities, the FBI, and 3 grand juries examined the killing. No one, was ever charged. Del Clement, a part owner of the D&G Tavern, was identified as a potential shooter by Trina, but he denied involvement. Author Harry N. McLean, who chronicled the case in Broad Daylight, concluded that while Clement was a plausible suspect, the act appeared spontaneous rather than a premeditated conspiracy. The story of Ken Rex McElroy is more than a crime narrative. It is a study in fear, the limits of justice, and moral complexity. Skidmore's residents faced a choice no community should ever confront: endure continued violence or reclaim their safety by taking justice into their own hands. Their decision, while morally and legally controversial, reflected desperation, solidarity, and a collective yearning for peace. After McElroy's death, the town experienced a notable decline in crime, particularly thefts of livestock and property. National media outlets, including Rolling Stone and 60 Minutes, covered the story extensively, highlighting the vigilante nature of the killing. Trina McLeod filed a wrongful death lawsuit seeking $6 million. The case settled for $17,600. She eventually left Skidmore, remarried, and passed away in 2012. Despite decades of attention, the McElroy case remains officially unsolved, a testament to the town's enduring silence and self-protection. Law enforcement officials have expressed both frustration and resignation. In 2006, Nottoway County Sheriff Ben Espy acknowledged that while many knew who fired the fatal shots, no one would speak. This silence reflects the town's unity and the extraordinary lengths residents were willing to go to reclaim control over their lives. The McElroy case raises enduring ethical questions. Was the killing justified? Could the law have ever protected the town? Was the collective silence an act of complicity or a necessity for survival? Scholars and journalists continue to debate these questions, using Skidmore's experience as a cautionary tale of the dangers when fear overwhelms law and order. Yet McElroy's story is not entirely black and white. Some recalled moments of charm or generosity, illustrating the complexity of human behavior. The narrative challenges simplistic notions of good and evil, showing how power, fear, and manipulation can warp perceptions and moral judgment. Ultimately, the murder of Ken Rex McElroy is a story about a small town pushed to its breaking point, while confronting unchecked evil. It is a narrative shaped by fear that lingered for years, by courage born out of desperation, and by the deep moral ambiguity that surrounds vigilante action. Skidmore's decision to act was not sudden. It was the result of long-standing intimidation and repeated failures of the justice system. What followed was just as powerful as the act itself, a collective silence that bound the town together. That silence transformed Skidmore forever, creating a shared history marked by horror, uneasy relief, and an enduring moral reckoning that still challenges how justice, responsibility, and community are understood. The story also serves as a reflection on the limitations of legal systems and the lengths to which ordinary people will go to protect themselves. For decades, McElroy's terror haunted the town, but his death brought tangible change. Yet it left behind moral questions that continue to challenge our understanding of justice and human behavior. As history reflects on the events of July 10, 1981, the McElroy case continues to stand as a stark and unsettling symbol of vigilante justice. It exposes the consequences of repeated institutional failure, when legal systems appear powerless, and when fear seeps into everyday life. For years, Skidmore's residents lived under intimidation, watching as complaints went unanswered and justice seemed unreachable. Over time, trust eroded, patience vanished, and desperation took its place. When the moment came, the community made a decision that would permanently define its identity. That choice did not bring closure or clarity, only questions that still linger. Skidmore was left marked by silence, secrecy, and moral ambiguity. The case forces the world to confront an uncomfortable truth. Sometimes evil is not distant or abstract, but present and persistent. And when protection fails, the choices people make, whether heroic, tragic, or morally unclear, become a powerful reflection of human resilience, fear, and the instinct to survive at any cost.